Okay. Are we live? I don't know. Apparently we're live. Hey everybody. Welcome to our first live stream together. Today we are going to be, well, as you can see right now, this is all one big experiment. So we'll see how it goes. But we're also going to be painting, and this will be something of an experiment as well. We're going to be using paint peels, or I like to call them paint stickers. Hey everybody. Welcome to our first live stream together. Oh, today, there we go. All right. Well, we'll get past all these little growing pains, won't we? Anyway, today we're going to be using paint stickers or paint peels. They are the leftover acrylic paint from after you're done painting, and I leave them in plastic takeout container lids, and those are my paint palettes. And when they dry, I peel them off, I store them in baking parchment, and then I can use them later. So we'll get into all of that. But right now, I was inspired by two things. One is, and let me get off of the webcam here. I was inspired by two things. One, I was inspired by the song Freedom by John Batiste, and just that look in the whole video of this kind of like lanky character with these angular movements and just a lot of energy and all of that. But also the painting The Sugar Shack by Ernie Barnes, and again, just these lanky kind of stretched characters. You can feel that energy. You know you have these angular movements and angular characters, and so we're going to put that into our piece today. And I got there by basically taking that reference material and sketching it really quick study sketch in my sketchbook, simple lines, just to try and get the correct angles and movement and all of that. And then by eye, I just transferred that to some parchment paper, and that's just so that I can put that one-to-one on the canvas. Let me switch cameras for you here. So that's going one-to-one on the canvas, and it's keyed to this top corner here. And then I can figure out where I want all of my pieces to go once, and I'll show you this as well, once we cut them out and get them ready to go. So my method really is that I storyboard a lot of this in my head, and then when I hit a wall or I hit an issue with the painting, I'll just kind of go with it and see where it takes me. So there's really no one way that I work. I also tend to use paint as a material rather than rather than just using it as an illustration kind of medium. So you'll see a lot of texture and kind of movement and things like that, but also a lot of simplicity in the paint because I want to add to the paint. So let's get started with the background, and hopefully all of the flubs and other issues gave people time to join. And since I ended the first broadcast, you might not actually know where this broadcast is. So, oops. Anyway, let's start with the background, and I'm going to paint kind of a blue blend of blue up here. So it's going to be deep turquoise and then this powder blue. And then once again, deep turquoise and powder blue up here. And then we'll just do like a light gray, kind of something like a sidewalk or a cement kind of path to anchor the character on the canvas. And then I'm just using the paper that came with the canvases. So I have a stack of these just laying around. And I like to paint on them because then I can use them later as like kind of sketching or practice with, practice with kind of finding the character in the splotches, if you will. So there you go. I also don't know what I'm going to say, so I'm just kind of making this up as I go. And for the most part, I'll explain what I'm doing, but I might get into a state of flow and you might not hear from me for a while. So, I have some music playing in the background. If you can hear that, that will entertain you while I'm off in space. But for now, we're going to use a blending brush this is actually one of my wife's old makeup brushes. So we're going to blend this with the blending brush and just kind of high energy, just kind of get this on the canvas with a lot of texture. Yeah, I also don't multitask, so while I'm doing something, I might stop talking as well. So, like I said, an adventure for everybody. And again, just really quick movements. Just get this on the canvas. It is just the background. And I'm leaving the texture, as you can see in here. And I'm leaving it nice and thick. This is probably, I don't know, 1/8 of an inch, 1/16 of an inch thick. So it's nice and thick. And when it does dry, you'll still see this texture in there, but it will be much flatter. All right. And then this is just going to be lamp black with a pile of white. Again, a lot of texture. That's probably way too much white, but that's okay. We'll find out in a minute. All right, and I'm using yet another smaller blending brush. Again, one of my wife's old makeup brushes. So if they're a quality enough brush that the bristles don't fall out, there's no reason to throw them out. And because this is not, fine detail and all of that, you don't need, a super nice brush for it. So all right, again, a nice thick layer, probably 1/16 to 1/8 of an inch. All right. And yeah, way too much paint, but what will happen is this will dry and then I can use it as a paint peel later. All right, so put these aside. One of the things though that I like this now the way it is, it doesn't really suggest a direction that you're looking at, which is fine. I think we're just going to go with it the way it is. And a lot of times you want to live with your art, see what you think. So this is one of those times for me. I'm just going to live with this, see what I think. And I might come back later and do something to it later. I do notice that I accidentally hit this. So we're going to kind of blend this back in, get rid of that big line. All right. So now we're going to move on to the paint peels. is kind of the star of the show, really. And I've collected them up over time, so let me switch so you can actually see what I'm talking about. All right, so I've collected these up over time, and they really are just these kind of paint peels. And you have a choice. You have, you know, the rough matte side and then the plasticky side. Oftentimes, though, you'll have this mold mark that gets embedded in there. So it's up to you. I'm probably going to cut around that stuff, but I also like this matte look anyway. So let's see what happens. The first thing you want to do, though, is we're going to take this and we're going to find where the head is and the bottom foot and then this hand, and kind of get that set up on the canvas. And to do that, switch you back. To do that, you're going to key it up where where we had it before, and just kind of eyeball where it was without trying to stick it to the canvas. So the head is going to probably be right around here. And yeah, it's nice and cold in here, so the paint really just wants to dry really fast. So first things first, we're going to figure out what color we want for this guy's head and his hair. And let me get you back down here. And what I want to do is I'm going to stage a few of the pieces, and then we'll attach them to the canvas, come back, stage some more, attach those as well. And just so that we're not, because if I hit this and I bump this and I have everything on here, then, it's a puzzle and I got to put it all back together. So try and prevent that as much as possible. I have two scissors, one for precise cuts, one for large cuts. Let's see what happens. Let's see what we need. I don't know if I want orange for his head. I might actually, let's say we can go with blue. This kind of dark blue. And then maybe that's kind of hair, right? So we'll go with that. And let's start with the general basic shape of his head. And it really is just kind of eyeballing this, and because this itself is just a sketch, it doesn't really matter. I'm not going for a specific person. This is not Jon Batiste. This is not one of the characters in the Sugar Shack. This is his own, he's his own person. So we'll go with his own head shape. I guess in a lot of ways, though, he kind of is me, kind of a self-portrait. I've always had this kind of fascination with that kind of 40s, 50s, whatever kind of jazz kind of musician thing that I always thought they were super cool. As an adult, I get that they're just people. Before they were, when I was younger, they were kind of a character, like a cartoon character for me. So I don't know. But anyway, I thought they were always cool. All right, so we got his head kind of cut out. Let's get his hair cut out. And I'm not going to do a face. Originally, I was going to try and kind of cut in the suggestion of a face, but I think I want to just avoid that today. So we're going to... Yeah, so we'll just avoid that today. I don't really do portraits. I don't do people. Lately, I've had this kind of weird fascination with people. And I started with my kids because I know them enough and I have plenty of reference material. But even then, I really carved their faces. I didn't paint their faces. So that was, I don't really paint people. And I think the issue that I'm having here is that it's so cold in here, the paint is starting to actually freeze or stiffen and get brittle. This is much easier to do if you're in a nice warm environment. Oh, thanks. I see every few people have joined. But thanks for joining. And yeah, I think the background's going to look nice. Thank you. And I'm glad it makes you happy. Fallout Blue. I'm not really a gamer, so I don't know. But yeah, I see the Fallout Blue. I do, yeah. Oh, I have a heater, thanks. I have a heater. It's just like 11 out here, so all right. So here's the deal. I actually made the face too small. And so let's see if we can get this to work. Otherwise I have to just kind of recut one. Or I can cut the hair smaller. I think I still need to trim the hair up. So yeah, it took a little while to oh, my pleasure. Thanks for coming along on the creative journey. Yeah, it took a while because I actually unfortunately ended the original stream. I had to restart this one. So yeah, like I said, an experiment, but you know, such is life. All right, I'm gonna start. Uh-oh. There we go. So my cameras turn off after 30 minutes or something like that. So, or 8 minutes, I don't know. So we might have to deal with that as well. Sounds like I need a new camera. Yeah, so Sugar Shack was from 1976, Caspian's Friend. And it is, yes, and very angular. All that movement comes from seeing those angles and um all right. Yeah, all that movement comes from all those angles and the parallel angles and just kind of the repetition, but it's just a lot of it, and that's draws your eye all around the canvas. All right. Let's put the head onto the canvas here. I think it goes at this angle here. Yeah. All right. And then the hair goes on. There we go. These are all issues that I would not have if I had pre-recorded this, and you would never know that I screwed up some of these things. If the paint is not sticking, you can always come back in with a little more paint and just kind of glue it on, because acrylic paint makes a great glue for paper and other paint as well. So we'll go with that. All right. Let's get back to our character. All right, so I like his suit, and I'm not sure if I want to go like orange or something else with his for his suit. I have all these different colors. I could go with orange. Kind of, I don't know if there's enough paint here for that. But we can always supplement with other paint. Because I didn't want my other paint to freeze, I left it in the house. So I can go and get that. I do actually have this that I've been kind of itching to use, which is just a lot of different colors here. And I can combine it with something else as well. Actually, like this one too. So I think what we're going to do is go with this for his suit. Very dusty, but that's okay. You know, I like it. And then what we're going to have to do later is come back and clean up the painting itself. And I may or may not get to that today, but we'll see what happens. All right. New cameras won't help. Pre-recording is no fun. Yeah, I really want to be able to kind of hang out with everybody and enjoy the conversation in real time, but um, these cameras have built-in timeouts. They're not really meant for streaming, so we'll figure that out. Maybe a phone. I guess I can go to a phone. All right, so this is one of those things where I actually have no idea how to what I'm doing here because I want to I don't want to cut out these and use them as templates because then I can't get other details later. At the same time, I am having a hard time seeing what I'm trying to cut out. So this is just one of those, I guess this is just, you know, this is art. This is problem solving. All right. Oh, I guess I should be talking and oh, and if there's a simple solution, yeah, I'm all ears. Love to know what that simple solution is. Because if I don't have to buy new cameras or something or use my phone, that would be great. All right, so I have the jacket part of the suit. One of the things that I forgot is the actual shirt. So I think we can go with purple under that. Because, you know, purple's cool. And you're not going to see all of this shirt under here. So we'll go at an angle here. Probably should have. There we go. All right. All right. Okay. I did forget his tie, but we have a tie-shaped piece right here. I don't know. We'll come back to the tie because I want to do something, you know, that I like. Um, and then we also need the sleeves for his jacket, which I don't have enough in that color. So we're going to have to figure something out, something that matches. That doesn't match. Might actually have to paint the sleeves in later, which is fine. It's all part of the process. Sometimes you just have to trust the process. Actually, I do like this. It's extremely thin, but I think it'll work. And we have plenty for both arms. Show you what I'm doing up here. So a lot of this is just kind of using the reference and just kind of eyeballing this and figuring out where the cuts should go. And then just trimming up. Oh, thanks. Yeah, I think it is a nice combo. All right. And then I got way too much. I kind of flooded this area here, so we'll just cut a little scrap here and piece that over. All right. And then we'll go with the other arm. And again, just kind of eyeballing this. One of the things I like about this process is that it's not about perfection. All right. And you can always come back and paint over this later. Okay, I think that's working so far. It really does not look anything like I had in my head, which is fine because it's never going to look like it is in my head. I finally come to terms with that over the years. All right. And now the pants. We got plenty of time. And the pants, I need something that's nice and where there's plenty of stuff to work with. And I may or may not have something like that. That's a lot going on there. I want something kind of that matches and complements that, but and this might be one of those things where you come back later and paint on the rest of it. So there's no shame in that. You don't have to stick with paint peels. So maybe something like that. And the great thing about the paint peels is if you don't like the colors later, you can come back and paint over them, and at least you have the texture of the paint underneath. And that's always a nice touch in my book because I love the texture. What do y'all think of that? No. I think what we're going to do is we're going to go with these, and we'll see if we want to paint later. So let me show you what I'm doing here. This is going to be so I'm going to kind of mark out where I want just with the tip of the scissors. So here and here, and then I'll just cut to make those lines meet. And again, I want to cut from here to here. So here to here. And then we'll just cut to make those lines meet. And then you can leave this kind of wonky because that gets tucked under. And then I'm going to add a little bit more to the bottom here, just to give them a little bit more length. I think. Yeah, why not? Actually, let's do the second leg first. Oops. So we'll do the second leg first, and since I have a straight line already, I can plot this out. and then realize that I should have put this leg on second because this one goes under. So we're going to just kind of peel this up. And gingerly stick this under there. Right, and then the rest of the leg, we're going to figure that one out. Just kind of by eye a little bit. There. All right. And then the last thing we're going to do today is the saxophone. And I think a nice bright orange saxophone. That'll work. I do have this yellow. I don't know, maybe I really want the orange to stick out. And then we're going to paint his hands on and his feet on next. So we're going to just paint those on later, but I have to wait for all of this to dry. So I think what I'm going to do is share the final piece with you in another video, probably in a short. Then that will come out in a few days. So stay tuned for that. You know, for this though, we are going to cut out the saxophone and use that as a template. All right. Oh, cool. Thanks. I'm glad yeah, the pants are supposed to brighten the whole painting. Um, and I think once we get this orange saxophone on there, it will be even brighter. I really don't like going with a lot of dark, kind of moody look. So so try and brighten this back up with the orange. Probably should have mentioned that as well. Well, I was going to try and freehand that last little bit of the saxophone, but I forgot what it looked like, so we're just going to go with a template. That's the thing, is, sometimes I'll have a picture in my head of what something looks like and I can just freehand it. And sometimes you just need a guide. So um, don't feel like you need to have everything all in your head and be able to kind of come up with these things out of the blue. Reference material is always a good friend to have around. All right. Our guy's hand or arm is actually not. Oh, I'm not showing you what I'm doing here. Our guy's hand was not glued on correctly, so he was not sticking. Again, if it's warmer, these paint peels like to stick much better. So I'll bring this in later and let it warm up, and everything should start sticking sticking to each other. All right. I don't know if anybody remembers color forms when you were little. If you're old enough to remember color forms, but that's kind of what these are. Just they stick forever instead of being able to reposition them, of course. But that's what this is all about. See if we can get this. Oh, you had Holly Hobby color forms? That's awesome. All right. We're going to fix my little mess up here. There. All right. Like I said, we're going to have to come back and put his hands in and his feet and put a tie on once I figure that one out. But in the meantime, I want to really thank everybody who joined today, because this was a big experiment for me, and you made it much easier to go through. So thank you all, and I will see you in the next one. So, yeah, yeah. Okay, so anyway, bye everybody.